Hey guys, today in this very big Omega box, I have a special watch. I have the Omega Seamaster 300 Spectre edition. And if you guys look down there at the bottom of the box, it says SP, which means it's a special packaging watch. So let's take a look. So inside the box, you have your operating instructions right here. Same pretty standard stuff. You get the warranty card and pictograms on this black leather wallet versus the typical cream colored one. So that's a little difference right there. And the certificate of authenticity, it says limited edition Spectre 007, and it says limited edition number down there. And there you go. Signed by the president of Omega, and it does look like a wet signature. So that's really cool. I don't know if he signed every single one or if it's just a really good copy, but it definitely looks like a wet signature. I can't imagine he would sign 7,007 times though, but you never know. Yeah, so I noticed this one doesn't come with the chronometer card, which is why I'm assuming maybe they just include this certificate instead. And it also comes with these instructions on how to change the straps, since this watch does come with a bracelet and a strap. All right, moving on to the watch box, you take this off, you have this huge wooden, almost looks like a safe. It's a really big box. All right guys, now that I have this very nice, very heavy box out, this whole thing is actually the watch box. I mean, you can see the dimensions of this. It's pretty huge. And you have this cool lock on it. And believe it or not, the passcode to get in is 007, which is a really cool touch that they added for this. And really high quality, very solid wood, and it's just painted very well. It has this nice silver Omega emblem on top here, and it's applied. It's very nice. Really good finish overall. I'm very impressed with the quality of this box. So once it's on 007, you just hit this button here and it unlocks it, and you can kind of just lift up, and there reveals the beautiful watch. Stunning. And before we move on to the watch, I just want to share how cool this box. I mean, look at the hardware. Everything's done to meticulous quality standards. And on the top it says Spectre and the 007 logo. And I mean, for such a small watch, you just see this box is massive. Omega's always been kind of about the going all out with the presentation boxes. Some people think it's annoying because the box is so huge, it's hard to store it. And I think that's why the old Speedmaster box was so huge, but the new one is so small and compact, and it even has a mini travel case within the box. Because I think a lot of fans voiced their opinions on the giant box, and the size was just a little much, and that was going to be a lot more usable for most people. I for one don't really mind the big boxes. I'm all about presentation, and I think it's a very important part of the entire experience of the watch. And I think this just looks so cool. The fact that you went for an all black, even the inside's like black, so it's like this double, almost triple black with hints of chrome hardware accents and the silver writing at top, just gives it a very premium feel and very James Bond-esque feel. So it's very fitting. So there is the beautiful watch. Take it off this very nice leather pillow. There it is, guys, the Seamaster 300 Heritage Spectre Edition. Beautiful. And before we talk about the watch, I want to finish up with the box. So you lift this and you have this really cool loop, and it has the bezel from the watch on there, which is a nice touch. You also get this tool for swapping out the straps. And last but not least, you get this stainless steel bracelet, fully brushed, no polished surfaces except for the sides. But unlike the regular Seamaster 300 Heritage, which has the polished center links, this one is fully brushed, and it has the 007 logo right there on the clasp. So kind of subtle. I like it's not screaming in your face, but it still does have that logo. And here is the hang tag. This is purchased from its hometown, so it's in euros. So this was 6,400 euros, and in the US it was going for approximately 7,500 USD at the time. And this watch came out in 2015. It had a limited run of 7,007 pieces, and it only lasted for that 1 year, if the whole year even. I think it was just a couple months before they were all sold out. But funny story is, when I went to the boutique to actually look at this piece, I saw many Rolex models at the same time. They had Hulks, they had Batmans, they had Submariners, multiples of each sitting in the display cases back in 2015, and they were all being offered at discount, every single Rolex model. But this, since it was limited edition, I could not get a discount on it. And it's just funny to think how Rolex is where it's at today, and back then I could have bought multiple Hulks, multiple Batmans, and multiple Submariners, regular black Submariners, all on the same day. And now it's just crazy. And the funny thing is, when something's not in demand, your true emotions show. So when I had access to all those Rolex models, though because of financial reasons I could not purchase them, I could probably squeeze one. But even though I had so many options for Rolex, my heart was still yearning for this. The movie just came out and it was amazing, and the overall watch just looks so cool. And you get this really cool signature black and gray striped NATO strap. I mean, instead of the 12 o'clock marker, you have that big Omega Seamaster logo. Everything about this watch just seems so perfect to me at the time, and it looks so high quality. Definitely something that was ahead of its time. And just like the Planet Ocean, this one is a true heritage inspired model, and it's a full-fledged, you could say, remake of the original Seamaster diver. So really cool. So it's like a flashback from the 60s, but with some modern touches. I don't know why, this watch just looks so beautiful to me, and today I guarantee you Rolex's weight is a lot more, as the resale market or the gray market shows. But to me, this watch is always special, always was special, always will be special. It's just impeccable finishing, amazing design, very unique, very different, and really cool. Initially, I wasn't a huge fan of the Seamaster 300 Heritage, but this watch, I don't know, something about it just drew me in. It just had the slight subtle changes which made me a fan of it. So let's get into it. Another cool thing about this watch is this is the first watch in the James Bond series with Daniel Craig where the watch actually played an important role in the movie. So usually his watches are just there and they don't really introduce it, or he switches between several pieces within the movie, as in Casino Royale and Skyfall. Even though in Quantum of Solace he only had one watch, they didn't really give it any significance or importance. So in Spectre, this is the first watch where Q presented him with this watch, and it had a function and a role in the movie. And throughout the entire film, Daniel Craig wears just this watch in Spectre. Just like in No Time to Die, he wears just that Seamaster Professional. In Spectre, this watch played a very important role because it was used as a bomb, and that's why the bezel was used more as a countdown bezel. Count down how much time was left before the bomb went off. So really cool feature, and another reason why this watch is, in my opinion, more special than the other James Bond watches in his movies. Even though when I think of Daniel Craig, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Planet Ocean. I feel like that watch defines him as the dedicated Bond watch. Maybe because he wore it across all three of his first movies, but I feel like that watch had a lot of screen time and a lot of psychological factors into tying that with Bond. This watch, however, also gives me a similar vibe because I feel like Daniel Craig did a really good job of portraying this watch's importance in the movie. So really cool fact. So you get the 41mm case, very nicely finished, polished at the top, brushed on the sides, really good finishing here. Really clean bezel, very solid clicks, and this is a GMT bezel, believe it or not. So it's not like a typical dive bezel or timing bezel. I guess this would be considered a timing bezel, but it can record multiple time zones at the same time as being used as a timer as a typical diver. But it's bi-directional, so its purpose is very much different. So this is what you would call a GMT with two hands. So it would be a simple 2 time zone GMT, unlike a proper GMT, which has the 4th hand and the bezel, which can record a 3rd time zone. Little subtle differences there, and you get that awesome lollipop seconds hand. So the cool thing is the new Seamaster 300 Heritage that they just refreshed last year, I believe, also has the lollipop seconds hand. It does not, however, have the big Omega Seamaster at the 12 o'clock position. It has the 12, just like the Planet Ocean does. I still like this one. It's just, I mean, the NATO, the box, the whole, just knowing that it's a limited edition, just everything's just so perfect on this one. And the overall design of this watch reminds me very much of the Tudor Black Bay and the Seiko SLA 017, or any of the original 62 Moss reinterpretation models. It has the same case shape as those. It's the vintage inspired, the slightly domed box crystal, as you guys can see, very beautiful. A lot shorter than the other watches, but they had to keep thickness down somehow, and it still has that box kind of like dome crystal going on. So really nice. But unlike the other two, this one does have a display case back, so that is a huge benefit. And the proper way to wear this watch, I would say, is just like Bond did in the movie, on this very beautiful and unique NATO strap. One of my favorites, actually. And believe it or not, you can't buy this exact NATO strap with the 007 on the hardware there without showing Omega proof that you own this watch. And it's a very expensive NATO strap, and you know, Omega will charge you for everything that they think it's worth, not just what everyone else thinks it's worth, even though it is just a NATO strap. So it's not as easy to get your hands on, though you can get one exactly like it without the 007 on the hardware directly from Omega, and that is available to order. So if you guys have a 300 Heritage, whether it's the previous gen or the new current gen with the lollipop seconds hand and the regular dive bezel, you can get that NATO strap on it if you want. So it's kind of like a smarter budget way to look at it. I mean, this watch MSRP'd for $7,500, though it did come with a steel bracelet, still much more than the regular Heritage Seamaster 300. So I do recommend probably just getting a regular Seamaster 300 if you're not crazy about the Bond connection or tie there, as I am a huge Bond fan, and I kind of want to have like a complete collection of my Bond watches, and I love Omega too, so I can justify paying the premium. In the resale market or gray market right now, these are going for over 10,000. I would say normally around the market sitting at 10, 11,000, I would say, and a really clean edition can run you up to 12 or 13. I've seen some new ones even listed for over 20 now. So the market was pretty settled for a while, but now it got a little crazy and then it's settling again. And I feel like the price is sitting around 10, 11,000. So that's kind of the normal price, where it used to be selling for a little bit higher, but the market has definitely calmed down a bit now. 10,000, not bad. I mean, it's still cheaper than getting a sub, so very unique piece. And there is a very beautiful movement, guys. Amazing finishing. So unlike the regular Seamaster 300, this one had the exclusive luxury finish, as Omega calls it, where specific expensive examples of watches get a different kind of finishing on the movement. And this has the coaxial 8400 movement, and you can see it's rated at 300 meters. This is still, even though it's not a professional, the Heritage is still a full-fledged diver watch with 300 meters of water resistance, which is a lot more than the Seiko SLA and as well as the Tudor Black Bay. Another thing is it's anti-magnetic, and it says over 15,000 Gauss, which is what I've read, incredibly significant amount, more than any watch should ever have. And that beautiful movement just keeps getting me. Here you go. This is out of 7,007 pieces. Really cool. They used the James Bond 007 logo to do that, and then just says limited edition right there. All right, let's get it on wrist and see how it fits. All right, guys, here it is on my wrist, and I think it's a beautiful fit. Perfect fit, actually. It fits very similar to the Seiko 62 Moss re-edition, and honestly, it's not too far off from the Tudor Black Bay either. And this is on a Nato strap, so on a bracelet, it will look even smaller. So for 41 millimeters, it actually fits really well. And this watch is on the thicker side, but as you guys can see, it doesn't feel overly thick at all. It actually feels thinner than the Planet Ocean, which it's only by a very slim margin, but it feels significantly thinner, even on a Nato. So if this was on a steel bracelet, it would actually have even less underneath it, so it would sit even lower to the wrist. But on this Nato, I think it fits beautifully, it fits fine, and it looks really nice. And it definitely feels like a really high quality watch. Similar to the Planet Ocean, I'm getting the same feeling of depth, of high quality, of really good steel and good material, and even the Nato feels very nice. But overall, I really like the aesthetic of this watch, and definitely looks like a classic. It looks like something that I want to keep for a very long time. So if you guys are planning on buying something like this, I do recommend hopping on it. Something like this where it's limited edition, the older it gets, the more it'll cost. So the sooner you buy it, the cheaper. And I think right now the market's at a perfect place where it kind of settled down, and it's the right time to scoop one of these up. Yeah, overall, really cool watch. I really like it. Very unique. Definitely something that I love to have in my collection. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. See you guys next time.